Hello, this is Spellskies MTG, and today I'm doing a deck tech on Omnath, Locus of Creation. So, Omnath is a 4/4 elemental for a red, green, white, blue. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and it's got a landfall trigger. So the first one per turn gives you 4 life, the second one adds Omnath's casting cost, and the third one deals 4 damage to each opponent, each planeswalker. So this card basically just facilitates the deck. You don't need it. This deck works fine without it, but it's a very good commander. Play it out turn 4, probably gain a bit of life, because you often ramp on turn 3, so you can fix yourself to play Omnath on turn 4, and then you can often play a land drop and gain 4 life. Sometimes you can play 2 land drops even. So the first section we have in this deck is spells which get you lands. So there's this Carametra's Root, Cultivate, Brawling Regrowth, Harrow, Kadama's Reach, and Rampant Growth. Harrow, Brawling Regrowth, and Carametra's Root allow you to hit the third land drop for Omnath, which is very good because we can deal 4 damage. These two allow you to play an extra land and get one into your hand. And then Rampant Growth is just a cheap spell you can play early in the game, and it's fine late game if you want to trigger a different Omnath, for example. Next we have County High Expedition. This also allows us to hit our third land drop just by itself, so you can play a land for 3 turns and then trigger it, and you get the mana and the 4 damage. Next we have creatures which put lands into play. We have one which allows you to hit your third land drop, that's important again, and then Wood Elves and Farhaven Elf, which allow you to get a land. This deck does run Tulane, or will do. I'm not showing you Tulane here today, but that was in the final deck list. We have Secure Tribe, which sacrifices to get a land, and this card's very good because you can bring it back with Recursion and get more land into play. Next we have ways to play additional lands. So you have Azusa, which allows you to hit the third land drop again. Mina and Den, Rites of Flourishing, and Dryad of Listen Grove. Rites of Flourishing allows everyone to do it, but it's still very good. Dryad basically breaks the Moria Shepherd because every land is a plane, so you can keep on returning stuff. And this allows you to bounce lands to your hand and give stuff trample, which is quite important. Omnath with trample is a large threat, so there's a lot of other things, and Azusa being the best out of those. Next we have card draw spells. So we have the spells. So Mind Spring, this is very good because you can pay X and draw X cards. Often late game you have a lot of mana and sometimes you have nothing to do with it, and it's just somewhere to sink your mana into. Turn of the Wild Speaker allows us to draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures. We're running Rubble Hulk in this deck. There's a lot of other big creatures, so this is very good. Urban Evolution and Harmonise allow you to draw cards and play extra land, which allows you to hit the second land drop so you get mana out of it. Then Harmonise and Treasure Cruise, along with Fact or Fiction, just draw you cards straight up. Harmonise probably could put a better card in that slot, but I just have one lying around, so... here we have the card draw engine, so running out Excavator. It's not card draw, but it's card advantage. It allows you to play lands in your graveyard. So Rada allows you to play lands from the top of your library. So you draw cards when you play, or get card advantage when you play them off the top. And then these three, they'll basically draw your card when a land comes into play. This gains you a life. This one gets bigger when you sacrifice the clues gained from it. And this one, if you don't want to play the cards, they go back into your graveyard, so you can recur them, and then you get them back to your graveyard. So whenever you play a land, you can basically draw a card and then play it. Next we have ways to get additional lands into play. So first up we have Carametra. I tried to make this as creature heavy as possible, so you could use Tulane and Carametra to their biggest potential. So if you cast creature spell, you get forest or plains. This deck's mostly white and green, so this is fine. Crop rotation, sacrifices a land, gets you a land, any land, so you can get a Fabled Passage and hit 2 land drops. Very important when you have Ranumap, because we're not running expensive fetches. I'm only running cheaper ones. So to get a fetch into your graveyard is very important. And if you get a Fabled Passage, you can hit your 3rd land drop. This one's also very important. It's card advantage because it gets you creatures from your graveyard and then returns all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield on the 3rd turn. Well, 2nd turn you have it out. So you can get everything back again. Trigger out of landfall abilities. That's very good. Next we have some recursion. We have Sven's Reclamation. Can get you back a fetch land. And there's a lot of 3-drop or less creatures in here. So that's very good. Next we have Sun Titan, gets 3 CMC back again whenever it enters battlefield or attacks. Again, there's a lot of fetch lands in here, so that's very good. And Amara Shepherd with Dried Abyss Grove basically breaks itself and goes nearly infinite Secure Tribe Elder, because you can get every single basic out your deck with the Dried Abyss Grove, so that's a very important creature. So you basically get every single basic out your deck, trigger everything. There's around 28 basics in here, so that's a lot of landfall triggers. 22 actually, thinking about it. Next we have Landfall Synergies. So we have token producers. Retreat to Amaria, also pumping your creatures when you need to, that's very important. And Rampaging Baloths and Omnath make big tokens. Omnath, of course, having a bonus whenever Elemental dies, you get to deal 3 damage to any target. There are a lot of Elementals in this deck. Our Commander's 1, of course, Omnath's 1, the tokens are. Zendikar's Royal tokens are also Elementals. Those are only 2/2s. These are 1/1 birds, which are evasive. They work really well with Retreat to Amaria. Get 5 land drops, give everything +5/+5, and you can finish off your opponents quite quickly with that. Next you have Lotus Cobra. This thing's an all-star. Play it early game, play on that early. Basically just do everything before anyone else is doing anything. And late game just allows you to play some of our big bombs, like my Multani and Rubble Hulk. Rampaging Baloths, and here they are. Multani being the best one because it's got trample. Rubble Hulk, we have ways to give it trample, and you can also give Multani +X+, basically double her power for 3 mana. If you have both of them, I've never done that before, but I'm sure that would be a pretty good combo. And this also can get itself back from your graveyard to your hand, and it also bounces land cards to your hand as well. So if you've run out of land cards in your deck, you're not going to draw any, you can bounce them back to your hand and replay them. Let's get on to the boring part of the deck. We've got interaction. Here's one triggered by landfall. This can get a bit out of control. Let's say you play 3 lands, exile 3 non-land permanents. We've got ways to protect this in the deck as well. The last game I played with this deck, I reckon I cast the Admonition Angel roughly 6 times. From the amount of times people were removing it, I was getting it back again. It just got a bit ridiculous. Even my opponent had one and I exiled his Admonition Angel with my Admonition Angel. Definitely get out of hand. Here we have Artifacts and Enchantment Removal. These 2 exile, and this one gets 1 from each of your opponents. And this sort of basic land cycling as well, so you can discard it and get a land card from your deck into your hand. Next we have stuff which deals with all permanent types. We've got Decimate and Beast Within. This doesn't deal with Planeswalkers, but Planeswalkers be attacked. Sylvan Library can't. This creates a beast when a creature dies, and just remember you have to have all targets for this. It's good all-rounder Decimate. And Scavenging Ooze, you can have a lot of mana. Pump 5 or so mana into this, especially if opponents are playing graveyard decks. This is very annoying, and they will hate you. Next we have board wipes. We have Phyrexian Rebirth, Cleansing Nova, Martial Coup, and Divine Reckoning. This one allows you to keep Omnath around. This one creates a big token. We're getting a lot of mana in this deck, so 6 mana Wraths don't really hurt, and a 5 mana one, we can avoid creatures if we want, or we can avoid artifacts and enchantments. I tend to use the creature one more, but if your opponent has a lot of creatures and you don't have very many, it's quite good. And this one, if someone's playing a token deck, you can get a big horror out. You've got ways to give it trample again. So in this place would be Tulane. He allows us to draw cards and put lands into play, which is basically what this deck does. But in here I've got Nissa, draws you -7, gain X life and draw X cards, where X number of lands you control. I can't get rid of hold of a Tulane, but this is good enough for the moment, and it can pump your team. Next we have Ephemerate. This is just a generally good card category. And then we'll go on to our land-based, which we have 42 of. This allows us to reset Omnath, protect everything else. And when, of course, with Omnath, and it enters, you draw a card as well. So you can blink it during your upkeep on the rebound and just draw a card. Flawless Maneuver protects all of our creatures for free, basically. Some board wipes, you can keep our stuff around, and everyone else's stays. Next we have Negate. This counters target non-creature spell. Very good again. If some cards casts a board wipe, you can counter it. Someone requests a combo off, you can counter it. I like Negate. Counter spells too difficult to cast in this deck because we're not running much blue. Admonition Angel has triple white, but we can often cast that. And Abundance with Tatyova or Tulane. This is very good because you can play a land with Tatyova, draw a card until you get a land, and then if you have a way to play an extra land, you can play another land. Or with Tulane, if you don't have a land to put into play, you can, of course, go until you find a land. So first up, we have the Fetchlands in the deck. I'm going to show you the most important ones first. These work best with Random Map Excavator and a card which allows you to play extra land drops. Because you can play these untapped and immediately search. Fabled Passage being the best of them, and Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Worlds are basically the same. Myriad Landscape and Croson Verge also ramp us. This gets a forest and a plain, so it fixes us as well. This sort of fixes us. Myriad Landscape in a 4-colour deck doesn't always work, but I find it fine here. Because there's 2 of every basic, so if you're stuck on a land type, you're not completely screwed. Those aren't so good with Random Map Excavator. And these ones are fine. We've got 2 Panoramas, Jund and Naya. Bant's probably better, but I don't have Bant, so I was just running Jund Panorama. It's good enough. You can get the mountain or the forest. And then this you can get mountain, forest or plains. And those are the 3 most prominent colours in the deck. Next we have our dual lands, which we have quite a few of. So we have Boros Garrison, Sleslia Sanctuary, Simic Growth Chamber, and Azorius Chancery as bounce lands. These are very good because of an extra land drop. You can play this, let's say bounce an island to your hand, and then you can just replay the island afterwards. So you can basically have more lands than there are in the deck. I don't really find that entering tap really hurts in this deck, because you've got so many tap lands anyway. Next we have Tri-lands. We have Mystic Monastery and Jungle Shrine. A Ketria Triome, the red, green, blue one's going to be added soon, but I don't have it right here. These add for blue, red and white, and this one adds for green, red or white. These are very prominent colours again, and this allows you to get the red and blue, which you don't often have. Then we come into lands which enter untapped. You've got 2 shock lands, you pay 2 life, or they enter untapped. And then these enter untapped. This one doesn't always interrupt that, but you've got enough basics, so it doesn't really matter. And then these two enter untapped and have some sort of downside. So the value you have to pay 1, and the Battlefield Forge you have to pay a life. And these tap with basically any colour. Command Tower does any colour we need. An Exotic Orchard adds 1 mana of any colour of a land an opponent controls. So everyone's going to be running, unless everyone's running black, which is very unlikely, you're going to be fine. In this deck we run 2 islands. We run 14 forests, 4 plains and 2 mountains. Again, we don't really need a lot of mountains or islands, because our deck is predominantly green, and then we've got white, and then we have red and blue, with red being more prominent than white. So that's my deck tech on Omnath Locus Creation, a new commander from Zendikar Rising. I'm going to show you a couple of sample hands. So this is an example of a good hand, because we can cast Omnath turn 4, and we have ways to get extra land drops later on. We've also got benefits for getting lands into play, and we've got protection spell. And off Omnath would obviously draw another card. So again, we've got removal there. So this is I would say this hand's keepable as well. You've only got 2 lands. You'll very likely draw another one. We didn't, but you can play the Secure Tribe Elder. You can cast the Harrow, so you can get your commander in. Yeah, like I said, you can get another forest. So that's a fine hand. So I'd say if you've got a 2 mana ramp spell and 2 lands, and another 3 mana ramp spell, you're going to be fine. Depending on what 3 mana ramp spell it is. So Cultivating Kadama's Reach will obviously get you out of that situation, because you get a land drop from it. And Harrow and Rolling Regrowth don't always help. Go for one last hand. Yeah, this hand's unkeepable. You've got 1 land. Definitely unkeepable. You don't have any lands to pay off Azusa. You've only got 1 land, and you've got some high costing cards in there. So thank you for watching. Next time I made a deck tech on a different deck. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.